Hi, we're here on time. We were having a few technical difficulties,
A
like my
few.
cameras went away, and it's a little difficult to show you what's going on. I don't even know if they're hearing us yet because okay, we got 12 on, so that's okay. Hello, everybody. Dr. Gail and I are here to look at past lives and discussions of the changes that are going on around us, which is another thing. Um, and I got uh, 9 questions in the comments section, and I always take those first. So you want to say something like, "Hi, Dr. Gail"?
Yeah, I'm glad you said somebody said, yes, we can hear you. I'm glad. Yay. Because you
Yay!
said, so, hey, everybody. Yes, thanks for joining us. And thanks, Nancy Jean, for having me for this past lives. I don't do past lives. I'm sure I can. I just go in the Akashic Records, but this is Nancy Jean's thing. So I'll come up with information that my guides tell me. If
Mm-hmm.
anything to tell them, then I'll just add my 2 cents in.
Okay. Well, we're going to start by I'm going to switch cameras to the table. And Dr. Gail doesn't do this. She stays Dr. Gail. And there it is. Ta-da.
Oh wow, it's just me up here feeling
Mhm.
lonely.
That's fine. You're more than enough, Dr. Gail. I'm trying to get it because when I get it over, sometimes it leaves parts of the thing off. Okay. This is like my garden, my oracle garden, but it was designed by someone else. It's actually designed by the same person who designed my oracle garden, Alma, but it's called a past lives garden, and we're going to use it as the backdrop. And I was going to explain to you because there's 4 stones that come with this. This is amber, this is petrified wood, this is citrine, and this is quartz. And these 2 stones, amber looks like this. And I just want to find you a good picture. This comes from a deck of every card in the tarot deck has been changed into a crystal. Um, and it's called the Tarot Gemstones and Crystals deck. How clever. Uh, anyway, that's what a good piece of amber looks like. But amber is an ancestor stone, and they also call it the King of Coins because it carries the energy from across time. And the other ancestor stone is petrified wood. And I know this looks like a chunk of amber, but if you really look at it, you can actually see the wood grain in it. And petrified wood can look like all sorts of things, but it signifies our ancestors. The other stone I have in this is citrine. And in this thing, it's the 5 of coins. Citrine is a stone of abundance and good luck. And it's, as I've said before, in the Middle Ages, merchants wouldn't open their doors without having a piece of citrine in their shop or in their booth because it drew money. And so that's the values that are coming in your life. And then clear quartz, when I throw that, clear quartz can be pretty much any vibration in the universe. And this is a lovely piece of clear quartz. And where it lands in here tells me more about your life. Now, I got several. These first ones we're going to see. Dr. Gail's going to help me by reading them.
You want me to read them? Okay.
Huh?
Okay. All right. This is Mimi 4721. I would love a past life reading. Thank you so much.
Okay. So we're going to start is, were you a male or a female? And I know in a non-binary world, we invented this before, but I can't even imagine how I would invent this otherwise. But in that life, were you characterized as a male or a female? And you're characterized as a female. It comes somewhat over male, but it swings way out over female.
I'm shocked because I got my pendulum going too, and I got female.
So. Okay. And were you born after the year 1000? And when it swings away from me, which is this way, yes, you were born after the year 1000. Were you born after the year 1500? I'm just trying to get a time frame for you. No. So you were born between the year 1000 and 1500. Okay. Were you born in the 1100s? Yes. Okay. Were you born let's see. I mean, born in the one. Okay. That I misworded that. Were you born between 1000 and 1500? Okay. So were you born in the 1100s? Yes. And were you born in the first half of the 1100s? No. Were you born in the so that would make 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400, 15. Were you born in the 1600s? Okay. Were you born in the 1700s? You were born in the 1700s. Were you born in the first half of the 1700s? Okay. Were you born in 1710? Okay. You were born around 1710, and you're female, and I'm feeling in the Mediterranean area, just instinctively. So we're going to roll the stones to see who this woman that was born at that time, what was your lot in life? What was going on around you? Okay. Older destiny. Okay, you live to be older, so and you were born into your soul family. There was clouds around, so there. I have a feeling your family was displaced, but that was your destiny to move to another area. I think you were born in the Mediterranean, but somehow or another you moved to another location. You moved to another country or area. I remember back in those times, borders shifted a lot. Let me. I'm going
to. She went to another country because for some reason I'm seeing her as a pilgrim. Would that even fit in there?
That could fit in there. I didn't get. I'm going to lay out 3 cards and see what we can see about. We're going to throw 3 cards. These are past life cards, and they just have different roles you could have taken in past lives.
So that would be that she must have left that.
She was a religious pilgrim. She got spirit and religion. And look what she got, galactic, Dr. Gail.
What'd she get, galactic?
Well,
what is that? Oh, the stars.
Mm-hmm. You started out on a farm. You started out in a farming community. You ended up in a spiritual and religious community. And I'm gonna pull a clarifier because, man, I have no idea what galactic's doing in here. Let's see.
Because I'm sitting here.
Yeah, because Dr. Gail's saying we're not going to discuss galactic because
it's a past life. Anyway, for people who are in this channel and don't know what I do, I work with the galactics. I work with the ETs, the aliens, and I do some healing shows also. So if you're wondering why she's saying that, it's because that's what I work with.
Yeah, and she said, we're not going to be doing galactic because my galactic stuff doesn't go into this. But what happened to her was she unfortunately for Dr. Gail, because we didn't want to get into this, but she was one of the earlier beings walking around on Earth. They've been here forever, the ETs looking like us. And she always knew she was different. You ended up living in a convent, mostly so you wouldn't have to put up with the male-female conflict. I think you were not a person to be run by a father or then being handed off to a husband. And So you, instead of doing that, you left and you traveled and you went into a religious community. So that's what you were. And if you've always enjoyed visiting monasteries or nunneries, now you know why. I'm going home. Okay. That shows you several different techniques that we can use. When I do a full past life reading, I work it down to the year you were born. And then we go up to when maturity in that day and age. We look at what class you were. It gets a lot more detailed. But for you right now, hon, what you have to work with is you went into a religious order in the 1700s. You were a female. You did it to avoid male domination. Good for you. And you, it was your destiny to be part of the family that you were part of. But being part of that family is what made you move on. Okay, here's the next one.
Okay, this is Tina Mac or Tina MCC at 1883. Hi, Nancy Jean and Dr. Gail. I would love a past life reading. Thank you
for all you do. When I copy these over from the YouTube, it only lets me bring so many letters, and sometimes it cuts them off. Now, there's another way that you can read someone, do a past life reading on them. And this is the very first one. It's called a Spirit 7. That's what it's called. I use it differently than most tarot books would explain using a Spirit 7.
The Spirit 7, that's the cards you're talking about?
That's the cards I'm going to lay out. I'm going to lay out 7 cards. Okay. And you can see when you see how long it takes to figure out time for people. Okay. This is the life you're in now. And this is the past life that's being reflected in. And this card in the middle says how far you are with things. You're in a transitional point with with bringing the lives together. But in the past life, you were a very successful male. You had all the money in the world, and you moved on. You were the mover and the shaker, and you made things change. And you brought a lot of change around you. So in this life, you came to be more temperate. Instead of rushing off and doing everything, you chose temperance in this life. But you are instead of riding off half-cocked and having to make money and all that stuff, you understand you can transition and change things in a much more mild-mannered way. But still that his old energy of let's get out there and do it comes up in you. And right now, that's what's coming up in you. It's something about movement and change. And because he dashed around and he was very successful at what he did. He didn't end up tearing it up so bad. I mean, he made things happen. But right now you're in a quiet contemplative state. You want to make some moves, but somehow the kind of rash way he used to make moves, he'd almost have the kind of life vibration of a robber baron. You know, I'm going to move ahead. And yeah, I mean, Rockefeller and all them, they built all the railroads and they changed the whole country. But they were sort of rude guys. And even though what they were doing is what needed to be done in that time, and they would just pick it up. They'd see it, they'd pick it up, and they'd go and they'd move. There's still a part of you that understands you just can't run over other people to get where you want to go. And that's what's happening.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Is there something she can do to move if she's, because you're making it sound like she's kind of stuck?
She wants to move. She's contemplating it. So instead of in the past, in this life, you would have just picked it up and moved, built a whole new thing, gone off and done it. Now you understand there's a part of you that wants to do that wants to make the moves and push things forward. But you want to do it with a sense of justice. And so you're in the point right now where you're thinking about it. Something's going on in her life that she's thinking about it. And that's how that past life affects you. Okay? Makes sense? Okay.
It makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to her. I'm assuming she's here in the chat. Okay. All right. This is Imelda Sandoval 246. I would love a past life reading as well. I dream in languages that I don't speak or understand when awake, even tongue clicking language. Well, come over to my channel.
Yeah, that's a Dr. Gail thing. Let me see. What's the other? I'm going to try flipping these past life cards. These cards, they may have brought them back into print. I have an original deck, and it's Doreen Virtue and Brian Weiss. Brian Weiss is the guy who started the Many Lives, Many Masters movement and all that stuff. And Doreen Virtue is the Doreen Virtue. If you've been around Tarot long enough, she's the one who did a whole lot at Hay House and created some marvelous decks. And then one day, this is literally true, Dr. Gail, she found Jesus.
Okay.
And she had this televangelist minister come out and explain how she wanted everybody to destroy all the things she'd made that were the devil's instruments.
Really?
And her sons are still in the business, and she's not, but she made Hay House take her name off everything. So if you have an old Hay House deck with Doreen's name on it, don't part with it. Those are collector's items now. It's made her more valuable.
I hate that happened because I do feel that someday and very soon that it'll kind of all be mixed together.
She may come around. I mean, that's her life journey. And I've talked to people who worked with her at Hay House, and they all kind of say, look, that's her path, just like we see what we see. So I kind of leave it to go. Okay, we're now into Imelda Sandoval's past life. Why do you dream in foreign languages? Oh, because you've lived everywhere. That's why. I think a lot of the things you're coming from are in Asia or foreign countries. You also were a person who took religious vows, and you're very in all your lives you've been very trusting, and moving forward. Now we're going to see about another set. Oh, yep, you were around the Mediterranean, Greco-Roman. One of the reasons you dream in so many languages is because you've always been a scribe and a scholar. Scribe and a writer, and you've lived in, let me see, I have one more strong feeling. I want to see if the cards are going to lay it out for me. Yeah, you go all the way from Asia to a Native American. You've always loved life, but some of your past lives, you've brought some of the fear from those past lives in with you. So you have some phobias, which if you do shadow work, looking at past lives, all that work would be guiding you to get rid of those phobias. Okay.
Can I talk about the clicking?
Sure.
Okay. The clicking, you have a life as a insectoid, a praying mantis.
Mm-hmm.
You actually learned clicking language as a child. It looks like to me they've been around you and were teaching you this language as a child. And it looks like to me it started at age 3 or 4 that they were coming in and teaching language. So I won't go into any more detail than that, but I just that clicking. I just wanted to let her know.
And there are languages in the earth that have clicking. There's several African languages and some Asian languages, but you realize, I think I read an article about how we're losing native languages, that are rarely spoken by people. We're losing them at something like 3 or 4 a month. And, and so that's not good. So hang on there, but you've just been to lots of places. You must have some fantastic dreams if you're bringing them out. The word of warning you got out of this reading is, if you're really afraid of something and it seems almost irrational, it's not irrational. It's something you've carried in. You just need to look at it and it'll go away. Okay. There you go, Dr. Gail. That's your job.
That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
To do what now?
To read your question. I would like a past life reading.
Oh, you already brought another one up. Oh, I see it. I thought it was the same one.
Mm-mm.
Okay, and this is from Carrie VT. I would like a past life reading. My husband said I spoke German in my sleep. I took German in high school, but have no German ancestry in the past 3 centuries. Any insight would be appreciated.
Okay.
Jump to another language. That's what they're reading.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out I'm gonna do a spirit 7 on who your German ancestor was, and maybe it'll give me a time frame.
Let's see. She says she doesn't have any in the past 3
Centuries.
3 centuries. So that's putting it way back there.
Mm-hmm. Well, there were a lot of Germanic languages, a lot of it's the root of a part of what was German is the root of English, the Anglo-Saxon. But there was so many, they all sound very German, except when I was in the Netherlands, I could read like the menu. Of course, I love food, so I'm always going to figure out what the food is. But I could read the menus, and you could almost, when you talk to them for a little bit, you could hear the English parts of our words and what they do. But you get into Central Europe, and all of them are Germanic-based languages. So. Oh, let's see. This is the life you're living right now. The one pointing up, the one pointing down is the life you lived. And this German language comes out of feeling very sad. It's when, and it's because this life was a very sad life. It was very cold. You may not have had any German in the last 3 centuries, but you could go back to the 1100s or right before the 1100s. There was a lot of very, very cold winters. There were a lot of people who starved to death. I think you actually did. You couldn't keep it together. You couldn't raise the money to keep yourself together. So I don't know if you've had where you live, it's been an exceptionally cold winter and it's bringing up memories, because in this life, you kind of actively block out the memories from those past lives, but something's been going on around you that's made you kind of soulful and made you be thinking about a lot of stuff, and you want to take movement on it. You want to take an action on it. And this is a good time of year to take the action, but you're unfortunately one of the millions and millions of people on the earth that are being heavily affected by having like 6 planets in Pisces. So you just sit there and you just can't quite figure out which way to move. Have a little patience with yourself, and I think you're going to see it. Yeah, you're going to walk away from the cold stuff and going to find happiness. You're really trying to rearrange your life right now, and your mind, your spirit, your karmic energy, however we connect that together, went back to this time when you felt alone, and that's what you're mumbling about. You're mumbling about the same things you were mumbling about centuries ago. So maybe it's time to make the move we need to do, because your outcome is very good. It's very happy. You're very much able to go back and find the things that make you happy.
Be interesting to see where she lives now. If she lives in a sunny place or somewhere cold.
I recognize the email and I should know where she lives, but I don't. Unless the VT in the bottom means Vermont, in which case
it could be.
It's going to get very cold. I just saw a weather report that they're threatening us with tornadoes and on Sunday. Okay, new question, Dr. Gail.
Okay, Debbie Joyce 2360. I keep getting a vision or a feeling of someone coming up behind me and bashing my head in. Help, please, and thank you. Wow.
Okay, let's see if we can see what you were in that past life. That'll be kind of a fun thing to do. Actually, when I read her question, when it showed up yesterday, this is one of the ones that was pre-posted.
Oh, okay.
When I was reading it, I felt my head pitch forward suddenly. So, yeah, I think you did get whomped on the head at some point in time, but
She keeps feeling it.
mm-hmm.
Vision. I know when you get something like that, it just will bug you to death trying to figure it out.
Well, you were part of a religious community. This is vows, high priests or priestesses, and trust and faith. And I don't think it was, I think it was it was authority figures. You were a writer in the community, and I think though you were a female in that community because I see that the feminine is showing up in. Oh, you broke the rules.
She broke the rules. Oh, maybe that's what
she got a baby, and the baby ended up being an orphan. I think you got killed by someone who was close to you because you broke the rules.
Oh, Debbie Joyce, you broke the rules. I wonder if you follow the rules now.
I don't know. She asked a question in the chat just before I bounced over here. So
you hear Debbie Joyce? I would love to know if you're a strict rule follower now, or do you still try to break the rules? Because if you have a past life like that,
if you have a past life like that, you either learn to behave or not.
She says
okay.
No. So I'm assuming no, she doesn't behave now. Well, good for you.
Well, no wonder you keep remembering those feet coming up behind you.
Yeah, that's probably why. Because whenever you're rebelling, then something. Yeah, you probably had that memory. So that would make sense. Okay, let's see. This is Maya the healer.
Maya the healer.
Maya the healer. Oh, okay. Any insight on my past relationship with my husband this lifetime?
Okay. Okay. Has Maya been related to her the husband in a past life? Yes. Okay, we're going to try to see how you were related to him. We're going to throw the stones.
Debbie Joyce here, she's saying, considering that I was kicked out of an organized religion by age 9. Good for you, Debbie Joyce.
You never did learn, girl. Okay. Yeah, you and he have a long thing. You have viewed him as a way to bring you good luck in the past. And you got married to him in a past life, but you had switched roles. You were the male and he was the female. And but you two have been going at this for a while. And this life, you're going to solidify a lot of the energy you've carried with you through the past. And when you're unified, the two of you are absolutely marvelous together. But you've been together so many times, it's like someone that's altogether too familiar. You've been around each other so many times that sign sort of tugs at you at times. But let me see if am I right that she was the husband? Okay, am I right that Maya the healer was the husband?
I'm going to assume that they have a good relationship now. Is that true, Maya?
I think there's been a few wrinkles. So things are coming up that they're not sure. Are the things that are coming up for Maya and her husband because of actions in the past life? Yes. And it may be who's in charge here now. I mean, they may have not issues that are going to burn the house down, but there just comes times when you remember being able to blithely make those decisions, and he doesn't. But anyway, okay, I'm going to ask if this is all going to get resolved.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, they're in the process of resolving because it's going this. No would be this way. True, yes would be this way. Yeah, they're working at it, and you two have a strong connection to be able to work it back out. So, okay, now I picked up 2 questions that showed up in my stuff, and I promised these people I'd answer it for them.
Okay, quiet writer. I have 3 options in choosing a publishing company to help get my book on the market. Should I choose company 1, company 2, or keep looking?
Okay.
Person's own heart.
Okay. So I'm going to put 3 rows down. The first is company 1. And we'll see what has the most positivity.
Oh, I see Sounds Like It Jean's here. Hi, Sounds Like It Jean.
And then I'm going to pop over and try to pick up as many questions as I can out of the chat.
But this isn't a past life reading.
No, this is a right now reading. This is company 1, and not looking good. Company 2, much better. And 3, I think this person should wait or keep looking, although you should give a really hard run at company 2 because they have a good reputation and they can carry you forward, but you're in the middle and you're just not ready yet to do the work. And this company, they just end up throwing everything back on you, and you'd be sitting there, look, whoever's a quiet writer, you'd be sitting there quietly saying, I'm in a complete dilemma. So we're taking company 1 off the board. Company 2 is a good bet for you. They have judgment and training, but the problem in this one, they're ready to go. They could really help you move forward. You're not. The quiet writer, you're not ready. Okay. And this says keep looking because you need things in a much more orderly manner. From the notes that surrounded this, they said, I'm not sure I'm ready to get in the boat with anybody right now because this is the same as this card. You're not prepared. You don't feel like your time and everything works right now to be prepared. So your 2 options are give a hard look at company 2, but if you're not completely convinced they can work with you right now, it's better to wait. Okay?
The quiet writer needs to wait and keep looking. Is that what you're saying?
They could go with company 2, but the problem with going with company 2 is not company 2, it's them.
Okay.
It's quiet writer. Okay?
But there you go.
Okay. Now, we got another one.
So, a friend. I have the oddest feeling I knew you in a past life. Think we knew each other. A friend.
Okay, a friend.
This is a good friend.
Is there a connection between me and the friend other than the one we currently have in this life, which is a friend professional relationship? So yeah, we were married.
Oh my gosh. A friend, a good friend. Y'all are married.
We were a good friend. We were involved in the family, but it's long before this person's in the psychic world too. It's long before we were ever in the psychic world. But that's part of why we trigger in each other that, oh, I can take the next step. I can move to the next level, or I can see the next thing because we have that old family tie. And they asked me one more question. Well, this says we were married, but they what they were seeing was right, which was it was parent-child. Was parent-child right?
So, can you tell which past life this was, or was this all your past lives?
Oh, they're never all going to be all. This is just one. They particularly mentioned. I was not in the mood to think about this, so I said that's bothering my head. So we're going to take a break. But it was they saw the 1600s, and that could well have been true. No, we've had a bunch of different relationships. They flowed through all sorts of different ways. We've been children, we've been protectors. So there's been a lot of different roles. But yes, and I think it was 1600s because that's sort of the number that we'd come to before my head closed down and said, I don't want to do this now. So now they can tune in and find out what the answer really was. Now in the comments, we had some people who jumped in an hour before we actually were supposed to go. And
well, I don't blame them.
You know, I know.
Because you can't do all of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to hide you. Okay, now comments. I'm going to the top and cold toes.
Cold toes. I would love to have a brief past life reading to evaluate what might be the lesson I need to learn in this one. Oh gosh, that's a great question.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to see where your past lives are intersecting into your current life. That's a spirit 7.
Why am I seeing her moving?
I think that may be part of the dilemma she's thinking about right now. Okay, let's see. Past life energy that's affecting you right now.
They're showing me pull your toes out of the snow and go ahead and move. What is that all about?
She lives in Alaska.
Oh, shoot. Oh, okay. Pull her toes out of the snow and move. I'm assuming she's going to stay in Alaska, isn't she?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I wonder why it's pulling the toes out of the snow.
Because she lives out in the boonies. I mean, not that most of Alaska seems to me to be not highly populated, so there's lots of snow to stick your toes in. Okay. This is your life right now. And actually, and this is the past life you're remembering. And what's happening in your past life is you remember pulling yourself through and always making it and getting it all done and having lots of clear thoughts and feeling very comfortable. And that's the life that you're reflecting back on. And in this life, you know that you're not where you'd really probably be. You're where you'd like to be happiest. You convince yourself you're happiest there. It's not, because of the 7s, it's not a place for you to make and learn a lot of the spiritual things you want to do. You want to be in a place where you feel really safe and warm and happy. But making the changes that might lead you to that, because you always have this old life that you go back to in your brain or in your energy, and it says, I can make it anywhere. But can you? Because when you were back there, you really weren't all that happy. So sticking it out and showing you can live with it doesn't mean you should live with it.
She's saying, Dr. Gail, that's hilarious. My kids want me to move to Fairbanks, which is a little colder than here.
Yeah, but it's also more crowded.
Right, and more resources, I'm hearing. She has more resources.
Yeah. Well, your thing is you want to move on your own time. You're not going to let anybody push you into making you feel certain ways. So let's see about when is your temperance going to come back and get back in balance.
She's saying, Hawaii, here I come.
She lived in Hawaii for a while.
Oh, wow.
I can't imagine moving from Hawaii to Alaska, but that's just me. It's money you want to control, and you want to be able to control your own fate. And you just don't feel it. You're just not feeling the groove to move. It's just, so this is basically saying, hold out until when you feel like this is exactly the right thing I need to do, then it'll be the right time.
Well, here's a good question for her then. I'm getting the hesitation of, or what she's saying. Maybe she should go not to Fairbanks. Is there somewhere else that she could go that she would feel more drawn to? Maybe Fairbanks is just not her place.
Yeah, and or places around Fairbanks. I don't know. I mean, Alaska's like this whole other. I did see a charming show last night, though. It was called it's called In with the Old, and these are people that buy old structures or old houses or old things, and they turn them into dream houses, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was two sisters that bought barns that were built in the 1930s by they called them the original colonizers, but they're people who were brought up during the Depression, and the government gave them land and they gave them money to build these certain kinds of barns, certain way. So they're called the colonial barns, and they moved two of the barns to a property, and their two sisters that changed them into lovely houses. But it was a part of Alaska history. I'd never heard that these people just moved up to this, which really in 1930s, it had to be pretty much of a frontier.
Yeah, definitely. It still seems to me. Okay. All right. And this is.
Okay. We've already answered your question, Imelda. I started so I wouldn't forget, but we gave you an answer. So, hi, Nancy Jean. I'm making cookies for my kid's birthday today. I saw that you're doing live about past lives coming up. I would absolutely love to know what I was and did in a past life. So I think the fastest way to get to that is through the past life cards. And Dr. Gail's got her pendulum ready for whatever.
Yeah, I'm not getting past the cookies, making me hungry.
We'll read 4 cookies. I know it's past life. Past life.
What kind of cookies, Candy, are you making? Oh, you're too busy to type in. Just go ahead and make your cookies.
Middle Ages. You were a mother in the Middle Ages, probably cooking cookies. It's when knighthoods were around. I think you were in Spain, though. I think you were there during the Inquisition. Let's see what it says to you. It made you move on. You were in the Mediterranean part. You were in Spain when some wars and battles were coming along, and you moved. I think that's, let's see, I have a flash. You moved to the New World. Let's see. Did Candy Mullen move to the New World? Yep, that's how you got the inspiration to move out and move to the New World. That's how you got here. That's what you did in a past life.
There you go, Candy. Here we got somebody else making me hungry. I'm not sure, Tara Ina. She just made an upside down apple cake.
Oh, yeah, y'all. I'm supposed to be good on my keto, and you're doing this to me.
Oh, look, like Candy said, did take the time. She's got chocolate chip and oatmeal cranberry cookies. Yum.
Oh, I love both those. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Gail.
Okay, Karen Johnson.
If Dr. Gail's with you today, I would love to know about your ET tribe. This is one. When I saw it pop up, this came up before we even went on air, and I said, Dr. Gail, they're coming.
Okay. All right. So let me look at this. Karen Johnson. I would love to know my ET tribe. Your ET tribe. Let me see. I'm getting the Palladians. Oh, that's a bit humongous. Yes, Karen. You were easy to figure out. That was immediate. They stood right up saying, here we are. This is her family. This is her tribe. And the Palladians, that's your tribe. And so this will be interesting. Can you do a past life on the Palladians and her past life Palladian? This would be interesting to see if we could combine them.
Yeah, but I don't know how to do those. I mean, I don't know how to mentally frame those questions.
Well, how about
male and female? Or what?
Yeah, see if she's male or female, because Palladians are so much like us that it wouldn't be far-fetched to try to do a past life or
Okay.
present life or whatever reading on her. But it'd be interesting to see if we can combine this and do this together.
Okay.
You're the guinea pig, Karen Johnson.
You're female. Has she been through this planet and this energy more than once as a Palladian? Yes and no. It didn't really give me an answer.
Okay, I've got an answer for that. You help me. She's actually has switched positions with being, she goes with this Palladian tribe, but they do switch positions. She's the one that has chosen to go into human form right now. And sometimes she goes up and she's actually somebody else's guide where they'll switch places. So she has Palladians around her, but they interchange lives. Somebody comes into physical form, whatever planet you're on, and y'all switch, and the other one guides you through it. So that's nice to hear or see. I mean, that just seems really sweet. That if you're in the human form or the other form, that you go up, the other ones go and are your guides. I imagine a lot more than I like that, but it seems really sweet, a really sweet energy.
That is. Okay. Let's see what Stella C has.
Okay. Hello, Nancy. If I can please do a reading of whatever comes out. Thank you.
Oh,
she says she loves your show and all the great things you show us. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do Spirit 7 and see what I can pull out for you. Okay. I'll tell you about Spirit 7 when I used to read at table. I used it a lot because it was a real quick way to get into this topic. And when I do a long reading, I start with the reading all the different things I can off the Oracle Garden. But to do a real good past life reading, you're committing an hour to an hour and a half's worth of time to get all the detail people want.
I want to answer Karen Johnson's question here. She says, I had a friend who said that they were Palladian, but I'm also drawn to Sirians. Karen, it's because you've had a lifetime on Sirius. So that's why you're drawn to it. It's probably the planet that you like. Y'all go together as a tribe from planet to planet, and one of you takes the option of going into that physical form on that planet, and the other will stay up and help. And so you probably had a lifetime as a Sirian, or either was a guide to another one of your tribe members that was a Sirian. It's just probably what you really liked. You liked that area.
Okay. Stella C. And little Martians come bouncing off my cards, Dr. Gail, you're in trouble. This life, you've liked calm, temperance, and to be in good things, and you've had some relatively decent emotional relationships again. And the past life, I don't know if you're married, Stella, but you've been married or nearly married to a male that you were attached to in a past life. And you're reaping what you've sown. In past lives, you would find at times you couldn't meet and get together with people, but you were a healer and you were a person who helped people get past tough spots, and you really helped a lot of people. So this life has given you a balance in your life. They've let you have the Empress, which is, although it may not seem like to you at times, just pretty much everything you've ever wanted has been given to you. You've been partnered up with someone from a past life that's really helped it. And you guys are really good. I mean, you're almost at the end as far as going rinse, wash, repeat. I think you're going to be not repeating soon.
So, not repeating this life or repeating what?
She's not going to have to repeat lives. She's going to have a choice.
Oh, good for her.
And choose wisely. You can come back even if they say you've done enough. You can, if you like her.
Isn't that what you keep doing, is coming back?
Yeah, they say I'm addicted to humanity. I don't know when to leave.
Well, thank goodness for us that you're addicted to humanity.
Yeah. Okay. How is my past life or lives affecting my depression and anxiety and fear now? I don't have to lay cards to tell you this. A lot of the anxiety and depression that you're feeling right now is because you need to do some shadow work on your past life problems, because when things show up again that remind you of them, you didn't deal with them before, and you're just going to have to learn how to deal with it now. I can put out some cards and see a past life, but what do you got, Dr. Gail? Do you have anything?
Well, I agree that she's got some shadow work to do. I'm thinking that, well, as I refer people to a shaman who usually helps to create a system or helps you go through some of that shadow work. Sometimes it's hard to do it by yourself. Sometimes you need somebody just to be there to support while you're looking at something negative or something very difficult. And so if you do want to work with a shaman, or if you know a shaman, they can help you with that. Or you can email me at drgailstarseed@gmail.com, and I can give you the name of a couple of shamans. But I think this would really help you, is to start getting rid of some of the things that have been affecting you. Look at your past lives and look at the things that are affecting you now, and start purging some of those things.
Yeah, I would do it, because you keep coming back in with almost the same set of defenses you left with. And you go back to Egypt, Native American, and Atlantis. I mean, this has been a long time. You always manage to insinuate, you always manage to pick the life path that falls into wars and battles and starvation and hunger. So you've had a lot of rough past lives. And I imagine when you hear about what's happening in the Ukraine, or the hideous thing that happened in the Middle East, that just brings all of those old, it didn't happen to me, why do I feel this bad? Well, it did. You just haven't. And once you acknowledge it and say, okay, I did all that crappy ass stuff, then you can let it go. And like Dr. Gail said, you can do I have your email? I don't think I put it in my feeds.
I'll just say it again real slowly. It's Dr. Gail Starseed@gmail.com, or I'll post it right here in the chat. And anyway, yeah, it's sometimes you just need somebody just to hold your hand to go through that shaky stuff.
And once you learn the ways to look at it, first of all, the first couple times, because you've got a lot of long-term ones here, kids, from what I can see. You're going to, once you get to that point, you're going to be fine. And then you'll be able to help yourself through it. You'll be able to recognize it. You'll know, it's kind of like, is this real or is it Memorex? Am I really experiencing this, or is it awfulizing it for me? Because I had a whole bunch of incidents that used to awfulize it. I talked about it once. I almost choked to death when I was very small. And after that experience, every time that I would want to get up, and because I was a baby choking out a baby bottle, every time I'd want to get up and deal with it in this life, an issue that was trying to choke me back, I would literally choke. I would literally not be able to breathe, and I would feel like someone was choking my throat. And finally, once I was in therapy and I realized what happened, and I went back and talked to family members, and they said, oh yes, your brother came and flipped you over, and we're so grateful he did, because you wouldn't have survived if he hadn't. My mom had 3 kids at the time, 3 small kids, and she was tired and had propped the baby bottle up, and I almost choked. And once
Hypnosis saying she almost choked to death as a toddler also.
Right. And once you recognize that's what happens, I never, ever, ever had that choking feeling in my throat again. So I'm telling you, and then that taught me that when I feel something and it's a totally over the top response, I look at what's really going on, and I can trace it back sometimes. Okay.
All right, Kathy Kruger. Love your shows, Nancy. Can't or don't always watch on a timely manner, but I get great info from you. if you have time, I'd get a reading to see what kind of past life comes up for me.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. So I'm gonna flip the past life cards. You were in Asia. You were a wise person in Asia. And you've also been, okay, I think the pattern I'm reading here is, man, you're Native American. There isn't anything you haven't been, Kathy Kruger. You were in Atlantis. And you had the galactic. I mean, girl.
Yeah, she's been everywhere.
You've been everywhere. You've been everywhere. And are you working with the elementals right now, Kathy? Because this sort of a lineup tends to be the sort of person that ties in with the elementals right now. That's what I'm getting a strong feeling about.
Yeah, I'm getting some elementals also. But what would life does one of her lives pop up that's more significant or the others? Or
no, their elementals are at the base of all of these faiths. And elementals were also in touch with the galactic.
Oh, so, well, definitely.
And elementals were here during Atlantis. I mean, we don't want to throw them off this earth. Don't mishear me, fairies. The fairies play with my office all the time.
Now, I guess my question is, when you have somebody like this, like she's been everything, been everywhere, how do you pick out the most significant lifetime that affected her?
That'd be a long reading. I'd have to pull a whole lot of tricks out of the back of my bag. But man, you have been a faith leader. And even if you're not a faith leader now, if you're not active within it, you are active within the spiritual world, I think, to try and become a faith leader in our world.
Well, I'm getting that her Native American roots here are one of her most significant, where she was very much in contact with the elementals or with the elementals, that are her Native American roots. And you did say Native American, didn't you? Did you say one of those?
Yeah, this is Asia wisdom, and wisdom's at the very center. And you've got a unicorn there. Yeah, you've been part of the elementals too. We can pass lives through that. So,
right. But it looks like to me that was where her beginnings were, with the elementals. American. And you've been all these things on this planet. I think you're kind of like me. You like humanity too much. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And we have one more real quick one I'm going to do for Cat Mama Meow's Dewdrop In.
Hey, Cat Mama Meow, Dewdrop In. I love your picture.
When I was at summer camp, the cabin, we didn't have, some parts of camps had cabin, some had tents. But this tent that was up on a platform, it was it's not a tent like you think of, not lying on the ground, but were the guys who ran the waterfront. It was the Giordano brothers. I was like 8 or 9 when I was at this camp. That was the place they stopped in. Their cabin was called Dewdrop In.
Well, Kathy's saying, wow, that explains a lot. Always attracted to spiritual things, feel things, and hears things.
Yeah, you will. And you've been doing it for centuries, so you think you'd be used to it by now, right? Let's see. Well, these guys seem to want to come, so we're going to do them. Cat Mama's Meow. Where you were. Oh, you've been a high priest and a priestess in this life. You're in a faith, so you weren't Catholic because you were in a faith where you could get married, and you You were very good with finances. You were a mother. Oh, this is during the Depression. This is where you lived in the Depression. Finances were really good. You got married. You were married into a church situation. You were a mother. This is where the Depression hit, and you helped organize people to make it through in the 1930s. Let me see what the further adventures of you were. You lived on Native American land. You worked with all the oppressed. You worked with all the oppressed. You took them in and tried to help them. And you came from a class of people where you didn't have to do that. You could have been a Republican, but you refused to ignore the downtrodden, and that's probably part of why you feel the way you do about things now. We should all take care of each other, which is true.
Yes. Well, those were great readings, Nancy Jean.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and helping and watching the chat and making sure that what's going on. I'll be on again.
And I pushed you to the galactic area a little bit too.
Yeah, I can't believe the first card I pulled was galactic. But after Dr. Gail kept saying, well, I'll just read because we're not going to talk about any things that affect my world.
But we did.
Yeah, we did. We had up to 70 people watching us today. I'm really happy with that. I'm going to be starting sort of a tutorial next week on Tuesday about the solar eclipse that's coming, because one of the things I don't know how many people out there know this, but I have I'm going to cut to my face. I mean,
yeah,
I've spent all that time getting the damn cameras to work.
Yeah, so my face on here the whole time.
Yeah. I have a tree, and so on the equinox on Tuesday, I went out to visit him. He's at Hogarth. He's in the boulevard where I live. I can walk from my front door to him, and there's a whole story about how I found him, and I found him because I was looking for ley lines, and ley lines have something to do with the equinox. So anyway, I went out to visit Hogarth, and I was feeling kind of bad for him. He's all covered with burls, and only a quarter of his burls had little scrunchy green leaves coming out of it. And I said, "Are you okay?" And I hear, I'm fine. He said, "But you should come back tomorrow," because the equinox was at 10 o'clock my time, 10 in the evening. And so the next morning I went out, decided, because I had to go run an errand, and I went to look at him. And all of his trunk was full of green shoots. And I mean, I don't know how fast things grow where you live, but where I live, they don't grow all that quickly. So I looked at him, I said, "That fast?" And he said, "All of the change that's coming is going to come that fast." And then he said, "You need to study the solar eclipse." So I got a magazine about it, and I got some other information on it. And I'm going to be doing kind of a tutorial about how to get ready for it, because even if you are not, now I happen to be right underneath the sucker, so I can't escape it. But even if you're not underneath it, just know, you'll feel the change in the earth during the time it happens. If you've never been in a solar eclipse, it's so weird, because just as the moon just hits the very edge of the sun, everything starts getting gray. The color goes away. It's not like anything I've ever seen, but if you get to where it goes to totality, and I'll have over 4 minutes of total eclipse on me, it really you'll see things, you'll hear things. The world's a different place when the sun's not shining on it. And he said that's when it's going to start. So I'm going to do a tutorial on the solar eclipse. And then one of my delightful people who follows me, she wrote me, and she found this book in her parents'
Oh, wow.
It's called The Secrets of Clairvoyance Revealed. I tracked it down. It was printed in 1913. And it has marvelous chapters on like the peculiarities of clairvoyance, and it talks about mesmerism, which was another thing that they used to clump together with us. Anyway, I'm going to read this book, and we're going to have lessons about what it looked like to live in our world in 1913. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's some books that I wish this company still existed. They have a book on how to do fortune telling with dominoes. Dr. Gail and I were discussing that last night. I was like, that's so much fun.
Yeah.
But you can turn anything into a chance to read.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's kind of the stuff I'm working on. I got a lot of really positive feedback from people about building the little spring grid, and trying to teach people how to work more with crystals. So I'm going to be talking more about that and going back and educating people about crystals some more. So thank you all for being here, and I appreciate it. And bye. Bye, Dr. Gail.